too bright. Oh, that's not too bad. It is a bit bright. Let me knock it down a notch. There. There's no one here. Right. Might give me an opportunity to get a top up. Oh, I'm glad someone turned up. I switched it on and there's no one there. So I thought, what the fuck do I do now? Get a top up. I'm going to turn this light out. It's a little bit too bright. Yeah, we need to be basking in the ambience. I wasn't sure whether or not to wear this or not because it's Friday night and I do want people to be calm. You know, that's one of the reasons behind doing this. Hello, Ray. You all right, chick? I'll have a gin, please. Do you know what? They'd run out of vodka. So that's exactly what I've got. So cheers, Ray. I do prefer vodka, if I'm honest, but gin's all right, you know. And I've made a shitload of gin, slow gin, so and it really does make a difference to the flavour, taste of the flue, you know. Gin on its own, not really a fan. It tastes like shit. When to be fair, so does vodka. But slow gin, nice and slow. Love tote. What's tote? Hello, Boho Richie. How you doing, darling? You all right? Good to see you. And hello, Lana. The main ladies are in the house. This is a little bit too dark. There's been something that a few people have pointed out, you know, doing live streams, not just on, and this isn't an excuse. This is, you know, look, please feel free to look it up, right? Across several platforms, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok especially, and a couple of others, where there seems to be some sort of built-in filter where people look older than they actually look normally, you know. I'm not sure if that's to give them some sort of complex or I don't know. But I do think I look a lot older in the live streams than I do in real life. And more so recently, I do believe that I've aged. I did my aging did accelerate a little bit in the first maybe year and a half or so after losing Sal. I definitely noticed that. Loads more lines and stuff like that, you know, but shit like that does that to you. But I'm in a much better place now, but I'm still continuing to age, you know. I'm only 25. What the fuck? Let's see if I can get this a little bit lighter. Let me just get everything right, ladies, you know, just so we can. Yeah, that's better. It's not a warm white. It's a bit too bright, you know, but it'll do, you know. I'm not one for you see people doing live streams and they've got this like big fuck off microphone that looks like a roadkill on the end of a metal stick, right? And then they've got all this special lighting and they've got cameras there from this angle, and then whilst they're talking, see they're hitting a button there, so you get a different angle there. What the fuck is that all about? All you need is this: an old ass laptop, a rechargeable prepping lamp. That's it. That's all you need. And a couple of candles. You don't need to go posh. You know, I don't think anyone's ever said, "Oh, you're." I think you need a new microphone, Terry. I don't. My voice is always this irritating. It's always irritating. Yes, Ray. It does appear that that Terry has his very own decent harem going on here. You know, I'm fucking sport for choice. Who do I pick first? All of you. Come on. Let's have a fag. But yeah, there is, you know. Oh, I want to pick some. Let me get a few little prepping things out of the way first. I'm dead chuffed with this shit. You know, the more I get into it, the more I love it, and the more I love it, the more I start researching it. The more I start researching it, the more I get into it. You know, and when you start making, I know if I had a quid for every time or if you had a quid for every time I said the word tincture, you'd have a fucking Lambo on the driveway. But I went to pick some more rose hips today. Don't worry, it's not going to be all about tinctures. That's not how we roll. I'm aware that I could have done with maybe another third on top of what I've already got in these. And every day, a couple of times a day, you just do that. And that is rose hip tincture. So as soon as you do that, a couple of times every day for 6 to 8 weeks, I'll be doing it right the way to 8 weeks, which will bring me quite close up to Christmas. And yeah, the dog's bollocks. So as soon as you feel the symptoms of a cold or the flu's so rare, you know, it really is. There is such a thing as a really bad cold. But this stuff, it can make it. As soon as you start to feel the symptoms, you just get a full pipette of that, all of the stuff in there. I mean, I've not taken all of the furry, hairy little pips out or anything, because the muslin will prevent anything from getting through. Won't it, Mohammed? Yes, darling. No, muslin. I haven't got a pet muslin that's going to be helping me out with these tinctures. They do fuck all for free. They're very expensive. So that's me rose hips. That started off today. And this is me can you tell what it is yet? Well, that's probably not a good impression, really. Shouldn't do a Rolf Harris impression on a Friday night. Not in October. But yeah, look at the coloration of that now. You know? And that's my my hawthorn. You know? Who hasn't had a thorn from a whore? You like my goatee? I have thought about, because it is getting long now, I've thought about cutting it down to about there. But then I think, why did I allow it to go as long as it has? Wouldn't that be a shame? You know? I think my grandparents would quite like this. My granddad had a beard. It's bizarre, you know. My grandparents were called Pearl and Dean, but I just knew him as Grandma and Grandpapa, Papa. Oh, let's start off with a shit dad joke. Come on, let's get going. Try your slow gin. I have done. I had to, you know. You can't give someone a gift that's going to taste like shit, right? It's like when you go around, if you're spending Christmas with family, right, and you've given everyone their presents, and you sat there and you're waiting for them to open their present from you, and they finally get around to it and they go like this, and they go, and then go to open the other one. I've not experienced that, but it would be gutting, you know, because I put effort in. It's very easy to go into a shop, just pick up some random card, right? Some fucking generic Happy Christmas card. Have a look at the spirits behind the counter. I'll have a bottle of that, and not even be asked to wrap it, because I've had that, you know. And then just come around. Here's a card. Here's a present. You know, quick brew, they're gone. Me, I put a lot of effort into buying presents for people, and then if I'm not buying presents for people, I'm making them, you know. So every person that's going to get one of those bottles of slow gin, I might treat myself to a bottle, because there's enough to go around. I might sip on one tonight. Yeah. So they'll get one of them, and they'll get a homemade little candle, you know, with 4 different layers in the candle, 4 different colors, and then 4 different essential oils in each one of those layers. So as soon as the first layer burns down and they can smell it, it'll move on to a different scent, and then a different scent, and then a different scent, you know. So a homemade candle that can do that I've put time and love into, and patience, and a bottle of homemade slow gin from berries that I've foraged, you know. Time and love. You put that into a gift, they feel it. It's the same as a takeaway dish isn't going to taste anywhere near as good as the one you cook from home, because you're cooking it with love, you know, unless you're a shit cook. Then like, what do you want for your tea? I'll have a takeaway. You say that every day. You've said it every day for the last 15 years. I know, and you still haven't taken the hint. Anyway. What? Sorry, Michael. Oh, mate, I didn't see you there, brother. Wagwan, and you spelt it correctly to the point where I know what you're talking about. Buckled. Ah, right. Yeah. Yeah, well, he's got to earn his keep, you know. And whilst he's in this living in that, whilst you're all living in this house, Mohammed, you're not out there diddling. You can't fucking diddle in this house. Although the girls, xXx, you know, but they don't like dogs. See, I thought it through. I'm fucking clever, mate. Clever. I love some twigs and 2 berries. I love some twigs and 2 berries. Oh, Ray's going blue. She's gone blue foot dads. Blue foot dads. You dirty bitch. I can't believe I didn't twig on. Right? But yeah, we all like you all like you know, twigs and twigs and berries are very Christmassy. That's it. Army. Army. What's that? But I do like the fact that you used very good grammar there, Ray. You know, with the apostrophe. You'd be surprised at how poor people's grammar is. Although I do go in and see how she is from time to time. But I keep getting blocked by people on X, you know? So you sign up to X, you get into X, and you're thinking, fucking, oh, it's full of information, loads of information. And there's loads and loads of stuff on there that 100% would be censored on YouTube, you know? Even though that Danny Tomo video with the dead body on the floor, loads of blood coming out of his head, graphic, none of it blurred out. That is always something that YouTube would block out. Always, right? The video would get taken down and you would be asked to either sort it out to the point where you can blur certain things out significantly, or you lose your video. That video is still up. I'm telling you. That's Iqbal Muhammad, who went to that mosque, not mosque. What's it called? They're all the same to me. I'm telling you, that was a false flag event. They all are. They all are. You know? It's just that not everyone's seeing it. People just aren't picking up on patterns. And you see the governments of most countries do seem to be one-trick ponies. Now, that makes sense to me because they don't seem to have... because they're psychopaths and they're absolute fucking nut jobs and narcissists, especially narcissists, right? They lack creativity. They've got no creative spark in them. It's just like, what worked last time? Well, we killed a lot of our own people in order to go and attack another sovereign country. Let's do that again, but we can't do the same thing again. We can't just, we'll be running out of fucking towers. What else can we do? Well, we can, we can arrange for a really, really big, like, massive party going on, in Israel, where everyone's having a great time, a family affair. It's got to be family because it gets right to the heart. And then, we'll bring in Hamas, who was created by Israel, bring them in, fuck loads of people up. They'll take a few prisoners with them. And, once they've done their job and they've let us know that they've done the job, then we'll take over Gaza. The more these things happen, the more blatant it becomes that they're false flag events. "50 to 60 minutes it should have took the IDF to get to that spot where the massacre took place on the 7th of October 2023. It took nearly 8 hours. Total carnage on a stretch that was usually heavily guarded. These people are ruthless cunts. They really are. They don't mind killing their own people. And this country's no different because they're doing it now. Let's bring in shitloads of murderers and rapists. Well, that'd be really bad for the country. Yeah, I know. Yeah, bring them in. And then they do something about they arrest the people after the young girl's life has been destroyed, if she survives. Then they arrest the perpetrator. Then they send them to jail for half of what we would get as white people in our own country. And then they let them out by mistake. And he's caught on camera leaving jail, just stood around talking to other cockroaches, just stood around with his prison bag because I recognised the bag. He stood there, was clearly just got out of jail, just let out. They don't make fuck ups like that. That's another distraction for something else. We need to move into these fucking hotels, help them pack, fuck them off. Come for me. Come for me. I could do with giving these a bit of a clean. They're a little bit cloudy. Oh, they're not. The room's full of smoke. You got fast fingers, have you, Ray? I bet they come in handy. Synagogue. That's it, Michael. Sorry, Ray, bit dirty there. Couldn't help it. The IDF must have been aware of the incoming attack before it happened. 100%. Yeah, that's why it was like, we normally guard this stretch. This is me trying to do an IDF. Because some of them talk like that, and some of them just talk like fucking horrible language. Just saying, it hurts me tabs. It's like a really, really, really fucked up extreme scouse. But yeah, they cleared it. They cleared it of all security. There was no one there, nothing there, right? Whereas normally you've got patrols going up and down there every few minutes. A little bit like the way the wall that separates North America from South America from Mexico, the way that wall was put up, and then there were patrols going up and down. And then all of a sudden they were told, fuck it, let's remove some of the wall. and then we just, let them through, help them through. Same thing in America as was over here. It's all deliberate. It's just it's a global Kalergi plan. That's what it is. But yeah, that stretch was always covered, always secure. At least every 5-10 minutes. I've looked into it. Feel free to do it yourself. Every 5 to 10 minutes there were armed patrols going up and down, and there was nothing for nearly 8 hours after the fact. They wanted Gaza. Gaza's going to be the Israeli Riviera. It'll be something similar to Dubai. And every single cunt out there that's knowingly assisted Israel. And again, it's not necessarily Israel. Israel's the front to it, because again, I don't want to alienate every single man and woman that lives in Israel, because there are shitloads of men and women in Israel that are seeing what their government and their puppet masters have done to Gaza and are doing to Gaza. They're suddenly realizing what's happening. They've never been so unpopular. This is why they're trying to increase the laws for blasphemy laws will be brought back in. Just so, because that would fall in and double up against the anti-Semitism. Again, none of these people are Semites, so fuck them. But this is why they're trying to be more stringent and trying to bring in more and more regulations and more censorship, because the whole world is seeing what they're doing and it's fucked up. It is. On top of the fact that people are, more people now know that 9/11 was an inside job. More people know that now than ever. The veil is lifting, and there is fuck all they can do about it. Nothing. Apart from one thing. An internet blackout, because this tool that was like early DARPA type stuff, CIA funded black ops type invention, the internet, the web. Well, these fucking retards, they don't realise that eventually we're going to end up using their own weapons against them. We're not fucking stupid. Most of us are smarter than any of these fuckers. Yeah, fair enough. I wouldn't know how to put a smart bomb together, or a cyanide tipped fucking umbrella, some spy shit. I don't know how to do that. I've got my own skill sets, just like you've got yours. But in most ways, in the most important ways, we're smarter than most of these fuckers. They're constantly insulting our intelligence. They're all in it together. It's sickening. It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people think that Russia is like, oh, it's the whole world against Russia. Putin's part of this nonsense. Putin and Russia is the meat grinder. And then people are trying to work out what China's role is. China's taken over the fucking world. It owns so much land, it's ridiculous, and infrastructure in so many countries, especially Australia and Canada and England. and massive chunks of Europe. It's got its fingers in a lot of pies, you know. There's something called the heavenly mandate, where China has to be number one. Well, there are other. There's a lot of I think there's a bit of jostling going on, but we're still seen as nothing. We're seen as less than cattle, you know. But China, there used to be a time where you could look at something, say in the 70s, for example, 60s and 70s, and it'd say made in England, and be like, yeah, I love that, because you know it's going to be good. You know it's going to be quality, you know. You don't see that on anything anymore. I mean, you have to look around your house. Pretty much everything's made in China, and they can send it to your postage. You're thinking, how have you made a profit out of what I've just bought here? How can you have made a profit off this, including P&P, all the way from China, and get it to me so quickly? And I've got a theory on that. So when people are under stress, and I'm sure, and in fact I know every single one of you have experienced some rough stuff, right? Or at least the ones I can see. So when you're low, and they are constantly trying to keep our vibrations low, constantly trying to keep us in a state of fear, right? So when your brain gets like that, what happens is you start looking for things to make you feel comforted, right? So some people just fill the face, just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, comfort eat, right? Some people just drink and drink and drink and drink. Some people take illicit drugs, anything just to try and get some sort of dopamine hit to balance their minds out. So I think that's one of China's purposes, is to provide people with that dopamine hit. It's like, oh, postman's just been, you go out there and you've got like 3 or 4 little packages, you know, and you're like, you open it up, oh, right, yeah, I remember buying that. What's in the next one? Dopamine hit. Oh, yeah, I know exactly what I can use that for. Put that down, right? You've already fucking forgotten about them two. Your focus is on the next two. By the time you've opened them up, you're thinking, where am I going to put these until I need them? When I'll never, ever need them. Because you just bought them because you needed a dopamine hit and it was affordable. You know, quick fixes. Quick fixes. So I do think that's possibly part of their role. Every country's got a role, you know, and Russia is the meat grinder, the cannon fodder depopulation blood sport, ultimate. And our girls and boys, our boys and girls, whichever way you want to put it around, boots on the ground, encircling with other countries now around Russia, and it's not good. It's not good. So just grab whatever you can whilst you can, and let's just hope we don't have to take to the streets and fight in the streets. Let's just hope it doesn't come to that. You know, let's hope we can take back the power from that's being abused in Westminster. You see, France has got massive problems. Ireland's got massive problems. Canada, Australia, everywhere you go, they've all got massive problems. right? But they are not our problem. We have to focus on our own country. And you start by that. You start with that by going local into your own community. You know, whether it's going door to door with a bit of information and a few websites they can go to, you know, even if 1 out of 10 people decides to have a bit of a look, you know. And the best way to convince these people that have probably been fast asleep all their lives, the most effective and efficient way of getting them to at least investigate one of the links that's on a sheet of paper, right, is by being unbelievably honest, 110% sincere and passionate about what it is you're trying to put across to them. And they'll feel it. They will. I guarantee it. They'll feel it. You feel truth. You feel truth like you feel bullshit. The yin yang, you know, you still feel it, you still sense it, you know. There's so much, we're so complex. It's just that some are more complex than others. I always have to have a bit of a mop up down there after every live stream, because not because I spoil my drink. I just sit here and I can't be asked to go to the toilet. I just piss in this. Oh dear. I'm ticking over nicely, thanks. Good. Oh, I love it. I love this. Are you watching tonight? Are you watching tonight, Alan? Alan, is Alan on? Lurking. Oh, Michael, I'm glad that there was an L there and not a J. You know, because I had a bit of a, yeah. Oh dear, yeah. Just one letter can make all the difference. And going, but just touching back on religion again. Tina next door, Chinese woman. Again, we used to affectionately call her, not to her face, you know, or to her husband. Ting Tong Tina. Because it just rolls, you know. It's like Ting Tong Tina, you know, because she's Chinese. But she's been practicing and she's now, I mean, how do you put the term fully qualified next to Buddhist? What the fuck has happened to the world? You're either a Buddhist or you're not a Buddhist. You shouldn't have to qualify to become one. You know, like right, your exam starts now. What the fuck's that all about? So that means that she's celibate. So I had a very awkward conversation with Kev. And he's like, well, it is what it is. But you see, I know that they've got a sex tape. They don't know they've got a sex tape because they don't know I can climb on their kitchen roof. It doesn't exist. Honest. Yeah. Yeah. Or does it? You know? It's a picture I'd rather not have in my head. But then Buddhism is a derivative of Hinduism. And within Hinduism, all life is cherished, and a lot of them are vegetarian. So that kind of spills over into Buddhism, because Buddhism couldn't exist without Hinduism. Yet she fucking hates their dog. She can't stand him. So what sort of Buddhist is that? And you see, I've got that problem with all religions, Again, this isn't intended to offend anyone, but when I look at religion, I see a lot of fakery, right? Someone sent me a meme a couple of months ago. I never posted it because, again, I don't want to mock people's belief systems. Unless it depends on their belief system. If you want to fucking debate religion, I'll debate religion with you all day long. Pick one. I just see religion as mind control, slavery, and division. So, you've got those three. So I've put those three together. In Christianity, you've got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or this, or that, and that. I've just picked three, and they're the three real ones. Well, that's just my opinion based on lots of research and observations. Again, it's not meant to offend anyone, I'm not here to offend you. I'm just here to give you my opinions based on what I've researched and conclusions that I've come to. Religion's incredibly divisive, and some religions are really, really fucked up. Really fucked up. And I'll tell you what, the more you look into a specific type of Judaism, where they follow the Torah. So have a good look through a translated version of the Torah. Then you have a really, really good look at a translated version of the Quran. You can get a fucking Rizzler paper between those two. So the amount of similarities are astounding. Whereas if you look at all of the other religions in the world, they're all very different. Most of them have got a very, very similar beginning, where most of them have got an immaculate pregnancy, a conception. Most of them have. There are so many similarities, but at some point, whatever the original kind of version was, that before it got plagiarized here, there, and fucking everywhere, maybe even plagiarized by us, just saying. But somewhere along the line, it got very, very fucked up very, very quickly, So 6-year-old and then consummated at 9 by Muhammad. And then when you look in the Torah, let's shave a few more years off that, shall we? Please feel free to do your own research. It's all there, for now. So just take advantage of having this information to hand. And I was watching a video earlier on. I might post it in the post section actually, because I think you'll find it quite Quite interesting, because this real, genuine hope, not hopium, not the fake, synthetic fucking shit that so many people are allowing to be poured down their throat on a fucking daily basis, hourly basis in some cases. Real hope, based on facts, the truth above all. Statistics, attitude, etc. Real, real hope. So I'll post that in the post section, so you can watch it. It's about an hour long. It's a small channel, but when you connect to a channel, you connect to it you're connecting to it for a reason, because it's speaking to you. You relate to it. And I'm just saying, at the end of the day, just like most other things, when you see the actual kind of documentation, and this is a digital ID, it's going to be fucking mandatory, right? Mandatory still means choice. Mandatory is guidance, not a law. It's not a fucking law. So for that prick to turn around and say it will be mandatory, it means that, so it's guidance. Right. So if it's guidance, I can either go, yeah, all right, or no, fuck that. And the vast majority of the country are, nah, fuck that. Which is why he's doing a U-turn. But yeah, and a lot of the kind of the jargon and all of the shit that's in there, and if you've looked at it, it's you could, blah blah blah. You may end up with a criminal record. You may end up with a fine. You could end up not being able to access your bank account. It's just a constant clever play on words. That's it. Just like your TV license reminders. It's like, we might come round and knock on your door and see if you're watching telly. You could end up with a fine or a prison sentence. It's may this, could this. Whenever you see those words being used in a document or a letter, a lot, right? Nothing definitive. It's just good for either wiping your arse on or getting a fire going. That's it. Preferably the latter. That's it. And our governments are much the same. It's just all words. It's just words. I mean, a lot of these, and that's the problem, is that most people, they're not looking for the you could, you may, it might, just potential possibilities. Nothing set in stone, nothing definitive, just threats, just fear-based letters on a fucking piece of paper. Fear. That's it. That's the premise of every single thing that these bastards are doing. It's fear. They've got to make sure that, because fear is so powerful if you allow it in, So it gets to the point where people get a TV license reminder letter through for the first time. They've never had one because can't afford. It's like, do we have a TV or do we feed the kids? Because that's how bad it's got now. Whilst these fucking cockroaches are living it up in 4-star hotels. And we're set to lose thousands of senior citizens this winter because they haven't had a £300 bit of help to put the heating on. Fucking hell. I can't fucking wait to get the shit going. Fucking mandatory. Ha ha ha. Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Look, if ever you wanted, and yet one of thousands of examples of just how powerful we are as a collective, right? When enough of us turn around and go, fuck off. That's it. It's like, all right, we will. And they do, you know? So one thing that even the thick cunts out there, again, I know that sounds divisive, but I'm getting wound up by them. You know, I feel like going around and saying, are you aware of these? Something that everyone should be aware of. No. Bang. Are you aware of it now? Yeah. But I can't do that. A, because I'm not a violent man. I'm not. And B, going around slapping people, not good. You know? It's just tempting sometimes. Fucking hell. But even this, the less awake people out there, right? Even then, a lot of people are starting to kind of put patterns together in their head. And I'm like, hold on a minute, you know. So they have to start realizing eventually the more people that, because we are building momentum, we are. So the more and more people that join us and start to listen, you know, because a lot of them have got selective hearing. So if you go up to them and you start talking to them about the World Economic Forum, they're like, they're what? Right. It doesn't matter, love. How's your day been? You know, because they've got a fucking clue. So it's baby steps with some of them. But even people like that, right? That are starting to join us will start to realise. I'll call him back. Are starting to realise that, hey, look, every time we as a collective say fuck off, they fuck off. You know? So for the first time, I've been saying we are the 99% for the last 5.5 years. And then it just seemed to dissipate and disappear. Like mist or teardrops in the rain. Gone. But I kept on bringing it back now and then. But now we're finally seeing what the 99% looks like and can do. You know, it's not quite 99% at the moment. You know, I wish. But we're on our way. Do you know what I mean? The people hold the power. We've always held the power. It's just, has anyone ever seen the flea experiment? Right? Same thing, right? So they have a jar. Now, fleas, for their size, are record breakers. They are record breakers. For their size, the height that they can jump is higher than any other life form, right? So some people will be thinking, what about grasshoppers, right? Yeah, they pretty high, right? But for the size of their body, not very high. Mate, just doing a live stream. I'll give you a bell back. Yeah. All right, chap. All right. Bye for now, mate. See you. Bye-bye. It would have been more respectful, really, to have answered the phone in the first place and just explained. But when I start to flow, I don't like it interrupting me, you know. And that's going to lead me back to phones. Oh, I've fucking lost where I was now. See, there's my point. There's my point. Not a law. Yeah, a request. Yeah, it's a request. Yeah, thank you, Lana. That's such a perfect addition to the chat, that, because it's absolutely spot on. So there are so many people that when they look at these letters, they don't see the if, they don't see the maybe, they don't see all that. All they see is fine, prison, criminal record. They're the only words that they spot. All the other ones seem to just pale into a blur. So they pay it. But the same applies to language. So if you've got a pig knocking on your door, saying, right, are you blah blah blah? Who's asking? Keep asking them questions. Are you blah 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 blah? Who's asking? Well, I'm here basically to speak to blah 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 blah. Right, okay. Well, are you her? Is she here? Are you him? Is he here? Well, are any arrests going to be made today? No. Well, we're done then, aren't we? Bye-bye. Door closed. That's it. Relinquish fear. Fuck it off. A lot of these police officers, again, it's a for-profit corporation. You don't have to look it up. It's not a government body well, it is, because the government's a corporation. Everything's a corporation apart from you. So when I say you and I'm doing this, it's not a pervy thing. I mean you, the blood flowing through your veins, the air coming in and out of your lungs, everything is a corporation apart from you and nature, anything that's biologically pure. Everything else is a corporation. And you don't need to interact with them. You don't need to. Oh, I could go down loads and loads of different avenues here. Compulsory, not a law. Exactly, it's guidance. So and me and Lana have already had this conversation, right? That as far as I'm concerned, so law, right? When Lana puts not a law, right? I get where she's coming from. She gets where she's coming from. You get where she's coming from, right? But the law that we're currently sort of living on, trying to live alongside, not under, fuck that, right? It's all legal. It's all legalese. It's all, it's law of the sea. It's maritime, right? So not only is that not appropriate for us anyway, then if you wanted to, you could revert back to common law of the land, right? But even then, that's still a law. Let me just close this she's on heat and she's nibbling away at her doggy vagina, and she's got a very big mouth and a very extremely unusually large vagina, especially when she's coming into heat. And I know you didn't need to hear this, but she's gnawing away at it. It's very fucking noisy. It's like this. It's too much. So you've got maritime law, which is inappropriate, right? Because we're not living on the sea. We've got common law, the law of the land, right? That was still written by a bunch of posh bastards that think they know what we want, that think for us. Sovereignty is not about people thinking for us. Sovereignty is about us thinking for ourselves. So the only law that matters is natural law, natural. So being able to know the difference between right and wrong. And if your vision, if that line between the middle is blurred, we'll keep an eye on you. You fuck up, you'll be punished. You fuck up again, it becomes more and more severe. And that's how societies should be functioning. Natural law. We don't need all these fucking laws. We don't need all these acts and statutes. They mean nothing to me. If I don't agree with them, I'm not going to abide by them. It's as simple as that. Because I've got common sense. I know it's not good to go out and murder some fucker. I know it's not the right thing to molest a child or torture a dog or smash someone's car up, you know, or rape a woman. I know that all of those things are fucking wrong. So I don't need loads of acts and statutes. I don't need all this shit. And then all this jargon put on top of that and jargon put on top of that. All of this should be made for the layman, for the layman to be able to understand, for starters. So when they start using loads and loads of like almost a completely different language, because it is, then you've got to ask, people should be asking, why can't I understand this? It's all deliberate. For now. I hope your log burning stove is in line. Oh, I know, mate. Michael, how fucking ironic is it that I ended up putting a post in the post section? You know, I don't like fucking about with my phone, but I just want to show you, for anyone that's watching that hasn't seen it, I posted this days ago, and then all of a sudden, there's a fucking problem. You know, they don't want people to be self-sufficient in any way. They want you to be 150,000% reliant on the state, because that way they've got you by the balls. And I'm not designed that way, and neither are you. I haven't posted too many things, I don't think. So I don't think I have to go back too far. Okay, now I do get a little bit carried away. Where the fuck is it? Please bear with me. There it is. There it is. Ah, fuck it. So it's basically just a picture of a woman. Two pictures side by side. One of a woman, of course, she's got to be wearing an NHS outfit, because that way you know that you can trust what she's saying, because she works for the NHS, you see. So you can trust her. So she's got her NHS nurse outfit thing on, including the little watch thing hanging off a pocket, and then the NHS thing, necklace thing hanging around. And then the next picture along, it's got her hair a bit morning hair, you know, and some sort of, and the headline was, "A trendy wood burning stove almost killed me. They need to be banned before they do any more damage." You need to be banned. And the way I titled it was, the good old crisis actor photo shoot. Because that's what they are. They're all cunts. And that's why I'm hoping people remember her face. Immoral people deserve the severest of punishments. Just saying. If you're part of this extremely elaborate fucking mess, this nightmare that we're all navigating, right? Like her, then let's fucking get rid of them. Get rid of them. Because if they'll do this shit for, you know, we'll give you 100 quid just to lie, you know. GPs, again, the same. Surely at some point they would have put 2 and 2 together and thought, do you know what? You know, since I've been rolling the jabs out, I can't believe how many people have, how rushed off our feet we are. Pericarditis and myocarditis. I mean, they were quite rare. It was very rare I had anyone like that with those conditions. Now I'm getting one every day. So surely they would have made, but then along come Pfizer. It's like, sponsored by Pfizer, right? With a little check, you know. How about if you carry on, we'll put that in your bank account, you know. Zero morals. So some GPs, just like anyone else, they're still going to be brainwashed fuckwits. Well, the vast majority of GPs out there know what they're still doing. They're still writing prescriptions for that fucking shit to go in people's bodies. Need to get rid of them. I don't mean prison. I believe one of the reasons that we've kind of ended up as fucked up as we are is because of a lack of, a complete and total lack of discipline and deterrence. You know, where you've got people that come out, reoffend, go back in. Come out, reoffend, go back in. So we either need to try and structure some form of support system to plough as much as we can into preventing people from reoffending, because that would still work out way cheaper than it does to keep them in jail. And then work on a 3 strikes and you're out system, you know, even for shoplifting. If you've got financial difficulties and you're trying to feed your family, we'll find a way it will signpost you to somewhere that can help you. But if you keep shoplifting again and again and again, the big supermarkets, they can take the hits. The small ones can't. The small shops, the independents, what's left of them can't. Right? So if you're caught stealing 3 times, we'll chop your fucking hands off. Or put you out. Just put you out, because if we chop your hands off, you'll be even less useful to society. I know some people are going to think that this is a little bit hardcore, but you've got to realise that we've got kids that are off the fucking charts, out of control, right? Because the parents, all they ever knew was, you know, good day at school, yeah. Dinner's in the microwave. That's it. No brains. Not all of them. Again, I know I do sound like I kind of tar loads, like entire generations with the same brush, but I know for a fact that they're not all like that. You know, I'm just saying it's a big fucking problem because they were told not to. You're right. You can't discipline your own child, right? That was a bit of a grey area for me because I was abused to foot by my mum, you know. So if those laws were in place when I was a kid, but then would I change anything in my life? No, I wouldn't. Nothing. And there are some things that you would think I would. But if you saw the way I see, you'd understand. Now, that's a dark conversation, an uncomfortable one. But the lack of discipline in our kids, the lack of discipline in our justice system, it's created chaos. Because there are people like us out there, you know, civilized people, and then there are Neanderthal, low IQ fucking fucktards out there that are sharing my fucking air. I do run out of patience with people, and and every now and then I run out of patience with society in general. You know, it's like I used to be a very tolerant man, and yeah, I mean this thing it eats away at the best of us. But as long as you can remind yourself that it's the system that's doing it, and it's the system that's allowed our environment to become what it's become, then you need to just try and then refocus that anger towards the system and plan accordingly. You know, someone sent me it was beautiful. It was one of those little meme, and it just said the only person with good intent that ever entered the House of Commons was Guy Fawkes. And for the most part, I agree. But unfortunately, I know that Westminster's security is pretty tight. And where the fuck am I going to get a powder keg on a Friday night at 10:30? It's not happening. Got to be realistic. So we have to find other ways. We need to take our country back. Oh, is Jordan in? It's all right. I've got so much. I might need to take my glasses off and give them a little bit of a clean in a minute because I am struggling with the light a little bit. Yeah, hey up, Jordan. You all right, matey? It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us, man. I think Lana's going to misspelt something there and thought, oh, that doesn't sound that all right. I'm a perfectionist. Fuck that. Let me do it again. Was that the one? Oh, Lana. Let me concentrate on this. On your comment. Was the one she said she was walking by the canal boat with a wood burner and inhaled some smoke for a split second? I know some people did look at. Sorry, I made that sound way more complicated than it was, Lana. But initially, it did take I did. This is why I don't fucking read. I'm not sure. I think there was something about her being an asthmatic or something, or so she would have been sensitive to it anyway. But either way, she shouldn't have said that. They shouldn't have put that out. They want people that have got independent means of cooking and heating their homes, which also incorporates boiling water and making water safe, right? So you could literally live in darkness, but you still wouldn't be in darkness. So if you look at all of your needs, right, there's the triangle of needs. And I can't remember what they all were, right? But when you think about living comfortably, you think about heat. You know, everyone likes to be. I hate being cold. You know, I wasn't designed for this country. I hear about this 1 in, 1 out thing, and I'm thinking, hold on, they're going to Africa. Do I black up? You know, just to go somewhere nice and hot, live there for a while. They can live here. Then there's the girls, you know, and they only eat dark meat. Fuck me, how did that start off? Yeah, I don't like the cold. I don't like the cold. I hate it. I wasn't born for this climate. I love to feel fucking red hot all the time, right? So when we think about being comfortable, if we think about the absolute basics, is warmth. Warmth, water, food, right? Now, in order to get safe water, you might need to boil it. In order to cook your food, to make certain foodstuffs safe, you need to cook it, right? And then it's nice to have a bit of light. Flames can provide that. So a a multi-fuel or wood-burning stove in a house, right, is a big fucking problem for them. A big one. Because it does so much. Turn off my water supply. Turn off my electric. Turn off my gas. Right? Which are pretty much the only 3 services I use. Really. The only what would be considered essential ones. But if they fucked all 3 of them off tomorrow, I've got it covered. I have. And that's why they want to get rid of them. Now, when you get one fitted, it's standard practice for them to then inform the local council that they've got a blah, blah, I can't remember what it is now, right? Certification that everything was made safe in order to, because usually there was a gas fire there. So the council then know that you've got a wood burning stove or a multi-fuel burning stove. But I know of a few people that have got one installed and had a bit of a chat with the installer, right? Chucked him an extra few quid. No one knows. They know about this one, but I don't give a fuck. You know? Come and try and take my stove out. Try and get past that fucking threshold to even inspect it. It's not happening. It's not happening. But anyway, this is why they want to get rid of them, because it takes too much control out of their hands and puts it back into ours, which is where it belongs. As the Queen would say, wasn't a fan of hers or any of them, or parasites. One is going for a piss. I'll be right back. And that wasn't a kind of a relief. What it was like semi-relief, because, you know, you probably don't want to know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Every now and then, very, very rarely, this is something that women don't have to worry about, right? But then you've got shitloads more other things to worry about than we do. Because our junk's on the outside, and some fucking dickhead invented a zipper for jeans. So, you know, there's always a little risk involved there. You know, there's always a little bit of risk. And, you know, your mind wanders for a second yesterday and lost focus, and fly came up before my boxer shorts came up, and there's a little bit of a catastrophe. Well, not a little, you know, Tripod Terry, fucking hell. You know who I am. You've heard the rumours. So some damage was sustained, which has made it a bit more difficult to urinate. But I remember it happening in my 30s, my 20s, and it doesn't take long to heal. It's just uncomfortable because, you know, use your imagination. Anyway, you don't go more off topic than that, do you? And then come back in. Where were we? I need to clean these. But yeah, going back to the wood burning stoves. Yeah, they want some. They've already made us go to smokeless fuel, right? So we can't just buy cheap coal in. And to be fair, the more of the cheap coal, the stuff that, you know, when it bellows out, it fucking bellows out. So from a prepper perspective, if you're trying to keep a low profile when everyone else is fucking freezing to death, and it's just you and your little group all nice and snugly and warm in your front room, smokeless coal is a good idea, you know. It's not entirely smokeless, but it's not that noticeable, not really. And you can't really smell it. But yeah, they've made built-up areas all have smoke. If you've got one of these, have smokeless coal. Fuck knows what that's made of. And I've got shitloads of it. So, but if you use proper old-fashioned brick coal, proper coal, straight from the seam, straight up to the surface, straight into a truck, straight into a sack, straight to your house, right? You do need to end up cleaning your chimney more often. And I've got a turbo chimney sweep. I don't even need to get someone. I've had to be, I need to be as self-sufficient as I possibly can. And to be completely self-sufficient in an urban environment, where you haven't got acres of land and shit like that, it's a challenge. But I fucking love a challenge. So I bought various little bits of equipment and stuff that I can use to provide services and build up a few skills, go down the natural remedies, natural medicine routes. You know, I'm trying loads and loads of different things. I want to try and get my fingers into as many pies as possible, because government overreach comes in like that. And as soon as it gets to me, I'll fucking break their hand. They need to mind their own fucking business and leave us alone. And hopefully, you see, all of these petitions that people have signed, it's like signed, send it on to him, her, him, her, him, and her, right? And then say 50% of them sign it, and then they send it on. Before you know it, you've got a few million, 2, 3 million, 3.5 in some cases. And like, I've got to read it out in Parliament, blah, 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 blah. That's it. That goes on their wood burning stove. But when they put their tentacles out there in lots of other ways, in most ways, algorithmically, right? They know. They can tell by what you've typed, what you've been saying to other people in your texts, over the phone, in the chat, in the comments section, everywhere. All of this data is being colluded. It's the new gold for now. And just from that data alone, they can tell that the whole country is like, take your digital ID, you shove it up your fucking arse, because if you don't, we will. And they're like, all right. We've got the power. So going back to the 99% thing, it's sort of true. Spare the rod, spoil the child. It's so true. I totally agree. Tempered old school discipline works. It fucking absolutely spot on, Michael. I don't even know how long ago you typed that in there, mate. I'm sorry. I think it was a while back. I do apologise, but I know exactly what you're talking about because it's so important. It's some people call it corporal punishment. Some people call it tough love. Like I said, my mum was a cunt to me out of 6 of us, right? I wouldn't change any of that. I think you can go too far with your kids. And that's the grey area where the government stepped in, the same government that allowed children to be raped by grooming gangs and raped by family members and turned a blind eye here, there and everywhere. Same government. But you can't smack your kids. You can rape them, but you can't smack them. Oh, no, 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 no. I know how mad that just sounded, but when you think about it, it does seem to be the case. But they knew that undisciplined children are going to turn out to be just malleable fucking nightmares. Kids need discipline and structure. What did you need? What did you mean to fix? I meant to fix that. What did you mean to fix? I've lost context there, Lana. I don't know if you're still listening. Help me out. Help me out. I took Zephyr, just dropping it in there because I know you love the girls. I'm sure that some of you miss our little walking talks. It's just, yeah, bear with me. So I took her to the vets, and she has had more or less the same problems as she did exactly the same time last year. So it could be some specific pollen from some specific plant that grows prolifically around here somewhere. I don't know. I didn't even know plants pollinated in the middle of October, or first quarter of it at least. But I got some meds, and You know, I can't believe how expensive vets are. And this is why you've got dog shelters and cat shelters and just animal shelters in general, just filling up, filling up, filling up, filling up. If you've got any spare money, have a look into your local animal sanctuary, and maybe just take some dog food down there, a 4-pack of dog food, just something like that. Just every little helps, because people are giving up their dogs, people are giving up their cats, because it's just like, I'm struggling to feed the kids, keep the heat on at certain just to treat the kids for an hour. That's literally how bad it is in this country at the moment. They're squandering billions. So when you throw vet bills into the mix, it's excruciatingly expensive. It really is. So I've got this shampoo for her. You can't really read it. Yeah, this setup's not good for that. But just some shampoo, just a little 250ml bottle of shampoo was about 50 quid. But Lana found a cheaper source. I was giving some stuff, Storm's ears. She's had a problem all her life with her ears. And when I first took her down to the vet for some stuff, I came out with this stuff and then had a look online and bought it for a quarter of the price. The markup that these vets charge is criminal. It's criminal. That's why I think charities like the PDSA, the PDSA in particular, is a charity that's probably worth. But even then, they're starting to put mRNA shit into our furry family members and our feathered ones. They want to do it, and now I don't know if this is happening in England yet, but it's happening in America. That the government are buying out the vets, so then the vets are going to follow the instructions of the government, and the government don't want us to have anything that gives us comfort. You will own nothing. So just be aware of that. And if you are looking at getting a dog or a cat to keep you company, make sure you can prepare for it for as long as you can prepare for yourself. And if you do go down that route, maybe consider giving a dog a second chance. Go to one of these sanctuaries, one of these rescue centres, have a look around, and you'll know, because you'll pick each other. You will. But make sure you can prepare for that dog or that cat or that bird or that hamster or whatever it is you're going to get. Or guinea pig. Sorry, Lana. We paid £450 to get our dog put to sleep in June. Do you know what, Jordan? I know how you feel, because that's how Sky, my first border terrier, died in my arms. My first ever dog at the age of 6 got hit by a car, carried on coming, died in my arms. But when you take your dog to be put down, it's your best friend. So you are paying somebody to kill your best friend. Mad. What a fucking world, mate. What a world. But I am very, very sorry for your loss, Jordan, because I know how it feels. It's like losing a member of your family, because they are family. Got her cremated and ashes in a nice box. Also paid £65 for a vet to look at our gerbil. Mate, all I can say is just thank you for giving a fuck about the other life forms you've got around you. You know, if yeah, it's not good. You see, Lana's got a gorgeous, gorgeous furry little thing, you know, gorgeous, and she's got a dog. Just trying to bring some balance back because it's touchy for all of us. Make sure you can prepare for everything you've got. You know, whether it's a dog, a cat, a fucking hedgehog. I don't know why I said hedgehog. A tortoise, especially things like, I mean, tortoises and parrots can outlive humans. So I don't like people that go out and buy things and buy animals impulsively without fucking using their brains. You know? It's like, well, I'm 75 now and I can't take a dog for a walk, but I just wanted some company, you know. So I bought a baby tortoise. And she's lovely. She's as slow as I am. So that tortoise will then outlive her and then outlive a fucking 1-year-old that gets it, outlives that 1-year-old as well. You know, people need to use their fucking brains. Buy, you know, exchange cash money, right, for company that's going to suit you and your lifestyle down to a T and suit the lifestyle and the life of the animal that's coming into your life to a T. You know, it's all about balance. If you go out and buy so if you live in the heart of Texas, right, or Arizona, right, so you live in Arizona and you sat there pissed on your moonshine, sorry for the stereotype, and you're thinking, and you're looking on the internet, you think, I really like Malamutes. The worst fucking thing you could ever do is buy a Malamute to live in Arizona. You put them in the middle of the fucking Arctic, right? The Arctic in -20. They're like, oh, this is fucking great. You know? People just need to use the fucking noggins, because if they don't, it's animal cruelty, you know, which is fine in China. They've got absolutely no protection laws for animals whatsoever in China. You know, we're meant to be more civilized than that. She was 15 years. I think hour or two later would have gone, but rather pay than let her suffer. Jordan, it was, again, it's I've been there, you know. So it's one of the most it's one of the most horrific things to balance up. Really, really, really rough. But we don't want them to suffer. In fact, let me just go down a little bit of a dark route just for a minute, and I'll come back up again. Right? Imagine if you didn't have a vet to put her out of her misery, and she was in desperate pain. You didn't have a vet. No other option. You're completely on your own with her. That's something that everyone needs to take into account and start thinking about. I've been thinking about it over the last 3 or 4 days, and it's been for some of the most uncomfortable thinking, the most uncomfortable aspects of prepping out of anything. So that's another thing that you need to think about, is that at the end of the day, they're going to come to the end of their life at some point. Man. I was holding my dog, Buster, while he was put down. Yeah, me too, Michael. But it felt like it had to be, it was necessary. Let's get a top up. Needed a bit of composure. Fucking hell. So I'm saying that they're not just animals, are they? I'm going to read without speaking. Right, how do we fucking spin out of this one? But I tell you what, I do think it's very I think it's important sometimes for us to bring stuff like this to the surface, because it can be quite unhealthy to let it just suppress. Comes up, suppress. Comes up, suppress. You know? Sometimes you've got to let it come up. Let it come up. and it'll make it easier for you to think about further down the line and make you tougher and stronger as well. So, you know, that's a genuine, honest silver lining to something that's really, really sad. You know, you see, everything has a silver lining. Everything. It's just sometimes you really, really have to fucking challenge yourself to find them, to see them. But they are there. They're always there. We do, Michael. We do. It's to me, I think being an empath is a blessing and a curse. And when I say a blessing, I mean a fucking blessing. Real blessing. But when I say a curse, you know, ironically, the only people that would understand that is an empath. Isn't that mad? But we wouldn't be. I don't think we'd be any other way, because I think there's a shortage, or it feels like there's a shortage of empaths in the world. It takes a lot more. I think it just takes a lot more energy, because you're thinking about yourself, usually not in a self-full way, usually usually selfless. So you give, you get nothing in return. Then you question, why do I not? No, actually, I take that back. Sometimes you don't get anything in return, right? In fact, in most cases, you don't get anything in return for what you've just given, right? And then you give yourself a hard time for questioning why you deserve anything for giving. Oh dear. So we're always thinking of others. We always criticize ourselves. And I think we see a lot more. So it's, you know, no wonder most of us are night owls. But then that you know, some of those factors can tie in with other people as well. You know, some people are just more awake at night. It's not necessarily down to overthinking. It's just their body clock or whatever. You know. Yeah, it can be tiring being an empath. But one of the most rewarding things about being an empath is knowing other empaths and being good at being there for other people. Yeah, yeah. Nice little positive spin put on there. I think at the end of the day, look, loss is loss. Loss is never good. I think loss is the ultimate nemesis in the lifetime of a human. It's the worst thing, that can happen to us. But I agree, trying to every now and then just surrender yourself to the happy memories that you used to have, because that can be a bittersweet experience in and of itself. Just remembering the good times. So whether that's, a dog, a cat, or a person, not a person, Again, let's just say person, right? We know that person is a shit word now that we know what it really means, right? In legalese, right? But we're just talking, I don't want to keep thinking, I shouldn't use that word. I shouldn't use that word. Fuck that. I think you read between the lines. I think you know me well enough. So whether it's a dog or a cat or a person, right? They can all be equally as painful, depending on your situation and your relationship to that being. Because I'm quite happy to call beings because that's what they are. Anything with intelligence is a being, It's sentient. So you get different types and different levels of grief. I remember doing a video about, fucking hell, it must have been about four years ago, because Sal was still with me, and someone asked me about the stages of grief, and because I know I didn't actually anticipate losing Sal, I didn't look into it. I didn't do any research on it. It was just questions for people that people had. I'd asked people to ask me questions so I could read them out in a video. And I'd experienced grief before, with dogs, and bizarrely my mum. So I had experienced grief, but I didn't really research it, any further than that. And they asked me with all the stages of grief, and I gave my own interpretation of that in the video. I was fucking miles off. But then it was a different interpretation of it. It's different depending on your relationship to the person that's lost, or your relationship to the furry family member or feathered family member you've lost. How close, how connected, So my girls, to me, are very, very different to Ting Tong Tina and her dog. Very different. If he died, she'd be like, Oh, I cooked dinner. What you want? She don't talk like that. But I can imagine her not giving a fuck, you know. So I hope you get the point I'm trying to make. The unnoticed this we get in return. Like after hard work with the stepkids, they call me dad. That's a beautiful, beautiful analogy there. That is Jordan. Really, really lovely. If you've kind of got into their hearts to the point where they've turned around and started calling you dad, I can imagine feeling a warmth that is unexplainable to most people, because not many people experience that. There are a lot of people out there that take it for fucking granted, though. So good on you, Jordan, mate. You've done a good job there, clearly. Otherwise, that wouldn't have happened. Yeah, exactly. I get that. Yeah, we do tend to overlook so many things. You know, there'll be sometimes I'll be doing a little bit of research on something, right? And then I'll kind of, next thing I know Storm's just come into the room, but there's certain specific information that I'm trying to find, right? And she'll put her head on my leg and rest it. Nah, Storm's got a big fucking head, mate, right? So that's some weight. So all you can feel is this beautiful weight on my leg and the warmth, right? And then I look down and she's looking up sideways, looking up at me like that, right? And she just fucking melts me, mate. And I give her a stroke and then I carry on, right? Next thing I know, the weight's gone. And then within 10 seconds, I thought, why does my leg feel different now? And then I reflect on what's just happened and how much this fucking thing has ruined a moment. It's time to cherish everyone and everything around you. Don't take anything for granted anymore. Look for those things that go unnoticed and cherish them. As for these pieces of shit, so I've counted them up, so I know what's what. And I've actually got 3 2G phones, all Nokias. One's a 3310, one's a 3210. I used to repair them. That was my job at one point. So I know them inside out. So I'm going to get loads of spares for them as well. Because I can deal with them. I can repair them. I couldn't repair one of these. You know, 3210s and 3310s were the most popular phones in the world when I was repairing them. So I've got 3 Nokia phones that are 2G, and I've got the black. I've just bought the BlackBerry, and with a nice little case that's absolutely fucking useless. Whoever thought about this case? Let me demonstrate, and then I'll carry on with the point I'm trying to make. There's my point made straight away. So I bought the phone thinking that's a good price. But I bought it, it was all sorted, you know, it was on its way. It was fully unlocked, you know. So, and it works. So if it works, fine, and it's fully unlocked, they're the two most important things, right? The fact that I had a few scuffs and scratches don't bother me, right? But then I read when I got it back, when it finally arrived, I realised it was just a phone. It didn't come with a charger. It didn't come with a battery. It didn't even come with a back. So I didn't know if it works or not. So I had to go and buy all those other fucking things separately to make it a complete phone. But it does work. It's fine. So there's my little BlackBerry Curve that works perfectly. And again, one of the reasons why these disappeared is because the way that they're designed. So you've got the Apple operating system and you've got the Android operating system. That's it. It's almost like Conservatives' Labour, you know, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. Two choices. That's it. All, but they're both working in cahoots with each other. You know, it's Samsung for fuck's sake, mainly, and then Google for fuck's sake. These had a different operating system. They had an operating system of their own. So it was end-to-end encryption that couldn't be unencrypted. It couldn't. So that's why I bought a BlackBerry, but it's 3G. And 3G is going to run out before 2G does. But anyway, going on to the snazzy little beautiful real leather, apparently. Real leather, genuine BlackBerry little case thing, right? So there's the phone and there's the case, right? So not only does it not cover it all, and this was specifically designed for this model, it doesn't cover it all, right? But then there's loads of wriggle room in the middle. It falls out without any effort, and you can't sort of open it, flip it to take a call or anything like that. That's it. It's just encased in there. That's it. Like a card in a wallet. To me, that's not very practical. But anyway, so I've got that and 3 Nokia phones. Now, what's happened over the years is they've made the SIM smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So most of you are going to have smartphones and some of you don't. I know Lana doesn't. So if or when you the word transition again, I don't fucking like that word anymore either. But it used to cover so many things. They've really dirtied my beautiful language. Cunts. And that word. I love that word. That's been left alone. So as phones moved on, the SIM cards got smaller and smaller and smaller. So you could buy SIM card adapter kits. This is fucking ridiculous. You can't see anything. There you go. Look. Yeah. So it'll take whatever size SIM you've got. Now, because I've got a BlackBerry, it's going to take, I think, the smaller SIM. I think I've not checked. I've not even looked. But it did come with a memory card. Someone had left a memory card in there. I'm curious as to see what's on there. But just in case the SIM card doesn't fit in there, and then I've got 3 Nokias that are all going to take the original size SIM. So I bought 4 kits. So I can put my SIM card in any slot. Best chat line ever. Let me show you something. That sounds quite wrong after that innuendo, but you know that it's not dirty. Bear with me. Oh, sorry. Would you believe me if I told you that I had a phone look at that. That is a fully functional mobile phone. Just for calls and texts. That's it. Well, look at it. Look at the size of it. You can still buy them. Mad. These are the ones that are in the most general use in jails because they're quite easy to, get in. It's like, right, first phone. I know. It's going in. I know. Fucking bastard. Oh my God. I'm glad that's it. No. What? No, there's another 8. Oh, imagine pulling eight mobile. Imagine telling your grandkids that when you're like 97 years old, but you can still talk and you've still got a sense of humour. Do you know what I did when I was 25? What? I pulled 9 mobile phones out of my arsehole in jail. I don't think anyone in the world would have ever come out with anything like that. I like firsts. No one's talking to me. I feel all alone. What do you want to talk about? I do feel like I take over sometimes and I'm just doing all the waffling, or maybe that's what you want. Maybe that's what you like. I don't know. You perceive me. And it shouldn't really matter. But yeah, next time you ladies go into Superdrug to buy your Pantene shampoo and conditioner combined, like dog's bollocks shit, like proper, £8 for a litre. Expensive shit. Just remember I spent 50 quid on this fucker, when you're drying your hair. With your hair dryer. 50 quid. Whereas you got a litre for 8 quid. What the fuck? Is that a shit? Michael, to be sure, it's a fucking shit phone. It really is. Because Not only do you need perfect, right, 2020 telescopic fucking vision to be able to see where the letters are on these tiny little, you see? So you've got a number and 3 letters on each one of them. So being able to see that, so you can press it the right amount of times and then see the screen to make sure that you can you type in the right thing, you know. But fortunately, there's nothing like predicted text or anything like that because there's no room on the screen for it. It's so basic. You don't get more basic than this, you know. At least the 3210 had fucking snakes on it, you know what I mean? And Snake 2. But I mean, it's a piece of piss to get anything into jails now. So easy. It's ridiculous because loads of the screws are either weak or bought, you know. Most of them, they're either weak or bought. The strong screws, they can't watch what 80% of their colleagues are doing all the time. And even then they're thinking, I'm coming to retirement, I can't be bothered with all this fucking shit. I've only got another year, you know? But even, say, 15, 20 years ago, you could get small phones, not quite as small as this. But it's a good stealth phone to have. You know, if you know, the amount of radiation and EMFs that's coming off just this one device is horrendous, you know. Virtually nothing off this. Virtually. So you could have a spare phone tucked down your top, further down the line. And I mean, it's not a bad idea if you can afford it to get one of these in, you know. Just so if someone steals your phone, you know, you've still got a phone that you can use. I mean, I've thought about getting a spare phone just so that I can maybe utilize the phone for doing walk and talks that I do very little of now, or anything preppy, which I've run out of, you know. It's got to the point now where I'm thinking, I've got nothing left to show you. And I don't want it to all be about just live streams. So, yeah, I think we throughout life, we go to crossroad, fork in the road, crossroad, you know. And I just feel like I'm coming to a fork. Yeah. But yeah, probably not a bad idea to get something like this. Just something little, you know. I mean, I can't remember what size SIM it takes. I mean, the battery's tiny. So I mean, even if like the battery overheated whilst it was in situ and exploded, it'd just be like, you know, morning after a really bad vindaloo and a couple of bad pints. You know, same thing, very similar. Yeah, this takes a nano, and I've got 3 little sets here, about 4 little sets here, so they'll fit anything. So I can get a SIM card in here. They're just very, very difficult. if you get one and you end up pointing out, Terry, I got one. It was a piece of piss. And then another message saying, I got one as well. It was a doddle. I'm going to feel like a right inadequate twat. And maybe it's just me, you know, but I've had nothing but problems with this little bastard. And I don't know anyone else that's had one, which is not very many people. Because again, not everyone thinks like we do, you know. I've prepared for so many things that just blow your mind. You know, I wouldn't even know where to start. And yeah, this video I was watching before I started the live, that I'm going to put in the post section. Again, it's about real hope, you know, real kind of, we all do logic and common sense really well, but all of us are also noticing that there's a serious common sense drought in the world, or it feels like that. Let me do it now before I forget, because I don't want to forget. And it's just, yeah, it's a good video. It's a very small channel. But I love common sense, and I like realistic approaches. Realistic, you know.
The fight on one login at Gov Wallet.
It covers a few things. This won't take long. I'll put, please watch. Sounds a bit dramatic when you read that, but when you see it, it won't be dramatic, because you just say please watch. You know. To anyone else that's not watched the live stream, they'll look at that and think, "Oh no, are we all going to die?" Again, that's the power of speech versus text. With speech, at least you've got tone of voice and tone of voice, pace, you know. And you can take a lot from tone of voice, but from reading just text, just letters and stuff, you get very, very little. Sometimes you get a lot, you know. I mean, I did upload this, and then I took it back down again because I felt a little bit embarrassed, because I felt like, because I'd uploaded it as a short, I felt that I'd made it a bit about me, and I didn't like that. So I ended up taking it down, much to Ruth's dismay, I think. Because it was a highlight of a genuinely funny, it's just the way it ended, the way that the live stream ended. It was genuine, taking something that was innocent on the screen, reinterpreting it, and it being ridiculously fucking funny. And she did a little highlight video of it. Oh, but I bet it's not here. Oh, it's here. And this was based off a conversation between Ruth and Michael. And it was really innocent as well. It was just about weeds and stuff like that. And I just turned it into an innuendo in my head, and I fucking lost my shit. I think I even let a bit of wee out. I'm an innuendo guy, you know. It's just, I get innuendos all the time. I think it's British. It's very British. Anyway, I let my dandelions self-seed in my sorry, Ruth. And I mean that. I'm going to read this out in full and then I'm going to move on, okay? But it's got to be heard in full. I let my dandelions self-seed in my front garden. People must think I don't care. My 3 corners is coming up now already. So going back to the fact that you can't be interpersonal communication, right? Being in the presence of a person, massive difference. 90% of communication is interpersonal, right? So me saying that, you know, it's just words on a screen and, you know, because you've not got body language or tone of voice or any of that, sometimes it really does work, but not very often. But it did then, you know. And that was just from me reading text. But I just think it's just, again, going back to mobile phones and how bad they are. They've damaged. They've been one of the main causes of mental health in the world, if not the main cause of poor mental health, because the algorithms draw people down certain, and a lot of people, if they're not aware of the fact that they are being manipulated by algorithms, then the algorithms have got complete and total control over them. They can steer them wherever they want to steer them. As long as you are aware of the algorithm's power to be able to do that to your mind, you can then build in a defense to remind yourself of that from time to time, you know, and just think, hold on a minute, let's veer off back to where I was, you know. There's a lot of fucking psychology, tomfoolery and skullduggery, I love those 2 words, going on with this big fuck off psyop. And mobile smartphones are an integral part of that. Michael, have I sent it to you? Let me know if I've sent it to you. If I haven't, I'll send it to you, mate. So whenever you need a little pick-me-up, it'll remind you of that moment, that night, over and over and over again, you know, and it was so natural, you know. It had been such a long time since I had a proper fucking belly laugh, you know. And I think that applies to a lot of us. You know, it's not very often, we don't get belly laughs as often. We will. Because again, we'll build up tolerance to everything that's unfolding, everything that's in kind of increasing and becoming a little bit more intensified. We'll be adapting that along with that at more or less the same pace. Most of us, we will. And anyone that's not, email me. You're never alone. You were never alone. You know. So yeah, it's just a little snapshot of time, you know, and a reminder that it doesn't always have to be about doom and gloom. It doesn't have to always be about negative shit. It's challenging for us not to keep reflecting on what all of the shit that they've done, because I've got a good fucking memory when it comes to that. Names, shit with names. When it comes to people doing me, trying to do me harm and trying to do harm to loved ones around me and trying to fuck the world over and shit like that, little tiny things like that, I remember, you know. I remember fucking names then. And yeah, I don't forget any of these injustices and these crimes against humanity. None, you know, especially wiping out so many of our senior citizens. I'll never let that one go. I'll fucking never ever let that one go. And I will keep reminding everyone every now and then, because I can't believe people have forgotten something so horrific. You know, everything's back to normal now. Yeah, but what about, you know, thousands and thousands of men and women that would still be with us now, getting ready for Christmas? Fuck me. Sweet dreams, Lana. I hope I didn't miss you there, darling. You know how I am. I kind of go off on one. I think we're going to close it down about midnight. I don't want to make it a mega long one tonight, because yeah, I'm a little bit tired out, you know. But on the other side of it, waking up, you know. And I also think that sometimes I think that I do long live streams, and I think 2-3 hours maybe, I'm fairly on form and I'm doing all right. But then I do flail, and then I feel like I'm just maybe waffling a lot for the last hour. Some would say the entire live stream. But, you know, I would like to be interacting at my best, and we get the best out of everything when that happens. The best comes out of you, the best comes out of me, and it's a to and fro, the yin yang, you know. That was so uncomfortable. Yeah, this video I was watching earlier on today, she mentioned in her, she sounds quite, she sounds like a bit of a poshy, right? But I don't tar all posh speaking people with the same brush either, because, you know, there's good and bad in every class. I don't even like the fact that there's a class system. You know, it shouldn't be that way. But in the video prior to the one that I've just put in the post section, she was mentioning about the fact that she needs to figure out a way of trying to again transition away from, because that's what it is, transitioning out of this system, this fucked up system that's been created around us, the matrix, if you like, right? Trying to transition ourselves out of that and into a free world. So we're free. We're working on our own system. Parallel society, parallel, right? Now, in order for you to be able to do that, you've got to be self-sufficient. Now, this channel was called City Prepping originally. And if I didn't think that being able to be a permanent prepper, long term, self-sufficient in some way or another was possible, I don't think I would have started the channel up, because it would have been pointless if you think about it. So it is doable, but it's only going to be doable because of the people that opted into the system or didn't do anything about trying to put something in place to avoid being sort of sucked into the system. And I know that there's at least one person here that is spinning plates in his head on options. And there are options there, brother. I promise you, there are. Be like a leaf. You'll land where you need to land. I'm telling you. Have faith in yourself. So having something that you can, a skill that you've got to get you to at least slide through, to, if it's just for food and services, or services in return for services, learning some skills that are going to be valuable moving forward is essential, because you're keeping ahead of everything. And that's the whole point of preparedness, preparing, being ahead of time. And yeah, so she pointed that out in a previous video, and it was good to hear a proper poshy talking about prepping, even though she didn't use the word prepping, but she was pretty much alluding to it, and it's just pure fucking common sense. Common sense. And in the last video, I ended up putting a message in there, just going, try. I mean, how can you summarize what we're doing into so you're not creating a massive fuck off essay in the comments section that no one's going to read? They're going to think, fuck me, that's all right. Let's go, because everyone's got a short attention span now because of scrolling. So I tried to summarize it, which was a challenge for me because I like to go around the houses, So I had to try and summarize it as I was going along, and which you'll see in the comments section. And basically, I ended it with this all of the above, pretty much all of the above, all of what I've just summarized is shit you should have started doing 5 years ago. So anyone that's not made a start on prepping now, you're gonna find life very, very, very fucking challenging. Now, fortunately, I think what's just happened with this U-turn, because it is a U-turn, but again, that's all based on all of the data that's collated from phone calls, text messages, Google searches, comment sections, keywords that's been used here and there, all collated, right? That's where they, not from some fucking petition. That's not where the real data is. The real data is. The real data is everything that you kind of connect with your fingers. So there is pushback, but it's only going to be temporary. And if they think, "Fuck, this is not going at the planned rate," you know, even the lower end that we try to anticipate is fucking lower than that, you know. So we need to pull something out the bag. So I'm sure they'll have their plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan, you know. When I was learning the alphabet, I only got to D. So, you know, they're gonna have shit up their sleeve, but again, it's all out of desperation. It's not that well thought out. You see, one of the things another thing that everyone needs to take into account, I think, right, is the fact that they will have hired dog's bollocks social scientists, like your psychiatrists, your sociologists, you get the idea, right? There's a list, probably about 5, right? So they will have hired the dog's bollocks of all of each one of their fields. But each one of those people will have learned what they know from mentors, textbooks, research, excerpts from other people's work, but they've never really truly been able to get themselves from them, been able to put their minds into someone else's mind. It's all college educated, university educated, no real life experience, which would make, you know, some of you guys way more qualified than some psychiatrists and psychologists out there. So these social scientists that they've got, which they would consider to be big in their field, that have sold their soul to the devil, even then, they're not going to be that good at being able to navigate the amount of twists and turns and the sheer amount of dynamics involved in society on a global scale. Fuck me. Proper bit off more than they can chew there. So in many ways, we're more ahead of their social scientists than their social scientists are as a collective. So don't ever feel defeated. Honestly, ever. Because we're not defeated and we won't be defeated. It's just going to be a graft. Proper. But we'll get there. It's just that you get pushed doom and gloom, and we're all guilty of doom scrolling. You know, again, it's another new phrase that will end up in the thesaurus at some point. You know. But it's just like we get barraged with negativity, negative shit all the time, day in, day out, from when we get up in the morning to when we go to bed. And most of us, I think, yeah, the vast majority of us would remember Batfink. Your bullets can't harm me. My wings are like sheets of steel. I'm pretty sure that was word for word as well. The more shit you take on, the more shit you'll be able to take on. You know, always remember that, because it's the truth. It's the truth. You know, I don't make this shit up. It's common sense. Right, I'm gonna close things down because I think everyone is starting to mellow down, and I just want everyone to have a really, really nice weekend. You know, just remember it's not all about doom and gloom, and just remember that the pushback that is hovering around the digital ID, more and more people are starting to realise what it's all about. You know, that it is a slavery system, and that trying to tie in it'll stop illegals from coming into the country. There are some seriously fucking stupid people out there. There are, you know, shockingly so. But most of them aren't that stupid. You know, fucking hell. All of the reasons that they're trying to use to justify pushing the digital ID on people are just so ridiculously outlandish and nonsensical that even people that are really, you know, on their 8th fucking booster are thinking, hold on, you know? They keep shooting themselves in the foot from being so out of touch with reality. Their disconnect from the reality of the world and the reality of real life has gone in our favour. It has, I'm telling you. Have faith in yourselves. Have trust in yourselves. But have faith. Yeah. Just have trust in the universe and always be honest. Always be truthful, you know? And yeah, I'll leave you guys to get your heads down or carry on partying, or you know, I don't. Some of you will be couples getting ready for Freaky Friday. It's Freaky Friday. All right, I'm closing down the live stream with Terry. Get in here. I've got my strap on. I do apologise, guys. That was not meant to end on a sordid note at all. But much love to you all. Please have a good weekend and have a good night's sleep. Ciao for now.